A twist of fate. Once upon a time, in the heart of a small, sun-kissed village, there lived a spirited young woman named Amina. With emerald fields stretching endlessly around her and the scent of vibrant spices wafting through the air, Amina felt the world was full of potential. She longed for adventure beyond the village's borders, where she could weave her own stories rather than merely play her part in a preordained tale. One fateful evening, the village bustled with excitement as villagers gathered to celebrate the annual harvest festival. Laughter and music filled the air, and Amina danced among her friends, her heart soaring. Dressed in her favorite bright blue gown that mirrored the sky, she felt both invincible and free. Yet, beneath her joy lurked an unarticulated apprehension, an echo of expectations she could not yet comprehend. The festivities ended as the village council convened under the flickering glow of lanterns. Amina's parents, filled with pride, welcomed the council's elders into their home. It was then that her father, the village's respected elder, announced Amina's arranged marriage to Kofi, a humble man who had suffered a tragic accident and now lived in a wheelchair. Amina's heart sank as the words wrapped around her like a barbed vine. How could they choose this for me? She thought, her mind racing with disbelief. She had envisioned a life of exploration, love, and autonomy, not a prescribed path defined by her family's wishes. Faced with the reality of her father's proclamation, Amina quietly excused herself from the gathering. She fled to the riverbank, a place that had always offered her solace. As she sat on the rocky bank, the moon casting a silver glow, the cool breeze brushed against her cheeks, urging her to confront her swirling emotions. A timid voice broke her reverie. "Amina." It was her childhood friend, Abina, who had been searching for her. "I saw you leaving. What's wrong?" "They're marrying me off to Kofi," she said, voice trembling. "I don't even know him. Why can't they see that I want more than this?" Abina knelt beside her, concern etched on her face. "Amina, Kofi is kind and loved by many. His spirit is unbroken even if his body is. You might find something beautiful in this unexpected turns." "But what about my dreams?" Amina questioned, tears welling in her eyes. "Am I to sacrifice everything for the sake of tradition?" Abina's gaze softened. "You are strong, Amina. If anyone can turn this around, it's you. Remember, the heart finds ways to weave joy in every circumstance." As the night deepened and stars shimmered overhead, Amina felt the weight of her friend's words echo within her. She had always believed she was the architect of her own life, but now she was a pawn in a game dictated by others. The heavy shroud of obligation tightened around her, suffocating her spirit. The days that followed were a blur of wedding preparations that felt like a decaying dream. Amina's heart was a battlefield torn by conflict. Her mother, Mama Nia, busied herself with the festivities, her joy palpable as she envisioned Amina's future as a devoted wife. For Amina, however, each day felt further from the aspirations she held close to her heart. When the day of the wedding arrived, Amina stood adorned in a dazzling gown, her hair intricately braided with colorful beads, a tradition that symbolized her family's pride. Yet, within her, a storm raged. As she walked down the aisle, her heart clamored for the freedom she once embraced. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes as she exchanged vows with a stranger whose world she barely understood. The wedding feast unfolded like a vivid tapestry, laughter and chatter intertwining with the aroma of spiced dishes. Amina forced herself to smile, to immerse in the vibrant hues of the evening. Among the guests, she caught a glimpse of Kofi, a handsome man, exuding warmth as he interacted with the villagers. His smile was sincere, as if he held the weight of the world yet chose to uplift others. As the stars danced overhead, Kofi raised his glass and voiced a toast. "To new beginnings, and to the unexpected friendships that fate weaves for us." His words drifted through the air, catching Amina's attention. There was something profound about his outlook, something that beckoned to her heart, a gentle whisper of hope amidst her turmoil. The gathering faded as Amina found herself lost in thought. Perhaps, just perhaps, fate was offering her a chance to rethink her journey. As her gaze lingered on Kofi, she began to wonder if discovering the beauty in this twist of fate could illuminate the path ahead. Although tethered to her family's expectations, Amina sensed a flicker of possibility, ready to embrace whatever life would bring next. In that moment, beneath a glittering night sky, Amina took a deep breath, allowing herself to shift her perspective. Though she stood at the precipice of uncertainty, she was determined to find her own way through the intricate dance of life, one step at a time. The wedding day. The dawn of the wedding day arrived with a golden hue stretching across the sky, quietly awakening the village and rousing excitement among the residents. Amina sat on the edge of her bed, her heart thrumming fiercely in her chest. The elaborate decorations adorned every corner of her family home, crisp white drapes draping over the windows, colorful garlands hanging from the ceiling, and intricate patterns painted on the ground. Despite this celebration, the festivity felt more like a gilded cage wrapping around her spirit. Her mother, Mama Nia, flitted about the room like a butterfly, determination sparking in her eyes. "Amina, my love, today is a beautiful day. You will look just like a queen." She held up the flowing gown stitched with shimmering beads, which sparkled even in the bright morning light. For her mother, this moment was the culmination of years of dreams and hopes, but for Amina, the fabric felt heavy with expectations she felt incapable of bearing. "Are you excited?" Mama Nia's voice broke through Amina's reverie. Forced to respond, Amina plastered a smile across her face. "Of course, Mama." But inside, doubt gnawed at her. What kind of love could blossom in a union arranged without her consent? A fleeting question gnawed at her heart. Would Kofi understand the whirlwind of emotions churning inside her? The noise of laughter and chatter drifted from the courtyard, where guests began to gather. The fragrance of spiced dishes wafted through the air alongside the soothing sound of drums being played, marking the rhythmic beat of anticipation. Amina's heart sank deeper. She was expected to be the star of this show, all while feeling like a ghost haunting her own wedding. As she adorned herself in her wedding gown, she stole a glance at her reflection in the mirror. The vivid colors brought forth a warmth that was both exhilarating and unsettling. Her long black hair was intricately braided, and her eyes sparkled with hints of fear rather than joy. She couldn't remember a time when she felt so disconnected from her own life. "Your father wishes to see you before you walk down the aisle," Mama Nia whispered, smoothing the fabric of Amina's dress. Amina's chest tightened at the prospect. She had hardly spoken to her father since the proclamation of her arranged marriage. Accepting her fate felt like a betrayal against everything she had ever longed for. Yet, the thought of disappointing her family was unbearable. "Do I have to?" she replied, the tremor in her voice betraying her internal strife. "Darling, it's tradition," Mama Nia guided her gently. "He's proud of you." Amina took a deep breath, steeling herself, and followed her mother to the sunlit courtyard. As she approached, the guests fell silent, their gazes turning toward her, a sea of eyes filled with admiration and expectation. Amina felt heat rise in her cheeks. She wanted to disappear. "Look how radiant she is," an elderly aunt called out, her voice breaking the tension. The crowd erupted into applause, and Amina offered a hesitant smile, acutely aware of the weight of every expectant gaze. Her father, seated with dignity among the council of elders, beamed with pride. He beckoned her closer, and Amina trudged forward, fighting against the swirl of emotions that threatened to overwhelm her. As she approached him, he took her hand in his grip firm yet warm. "My daughter," he began, his voice steady. "You are embarking on a sacred journey today. Kofi may not have the body he once did, but his spirit is indomitable. Love can bloom in the most unlikely of places." Amina forced a smile, her tongue heavy with words she dared not speak. Instead, she nodded, accepting his heartfelt wish though her heart wrestled with doubt. Could she find beauty in the path laid out for her? The sound of drums filled the air once more, signaling that it was time for the ceremony to begin. Dread settled in Amina's stomach like a stone. She intertwined her fingers, feeling the tension in her limbs as she climbed the steps to the altar, with her heart racing like a wild stallion. As she stood before Kofi, his presence was calming, even though he sat in his wheelchair. He looked up at her, his gentle smile radiating warmth, creating a haven she found hard to resist. The reality of their situation contrasted sharply with the hopes of the villagers, who beamed with expectation. "Amina," he spoke, his voice rich and soothing, "you look beautiful." The sincerity in his tone caught her off guard, waking a flicker of curiosity. How could this man, who faced so much darkness, find the light to compliment her? "Thank you," she murmured, easing her thoughts for just a moment as the officiant began speaking about love, commitment, and the future they would build together. As family and friends offered blessings and well wishes, Amina found herself enveloped in a cocoon of warmth. Slowly, she began to notice how Kofi interacted with the villagers, jesting with the children and recounting stories that drew laughter from their lips. For the first time, she realized he was more than just a man tied to tradition. He was a storyteller and a charismatic spirit. Something within her stirred, compelling her to listen. "I will do my best to love you," Amina said softly, her voice shaking slightly as she exchanged vows, feeling the depth of the promise weighing heavily on her heart. "And I will do my utmost to make you happy," Kofi replied, sincerity etched in his expression. As they locked eyes, a glimmer of understanding ignited between them, as if they were both uncharted waters waiting to be explored. The guests erupted in cheers, but Amina felt a flicker of hope blossoming in the shadows of her uncertainty. As the festivities continued, she allowed herself to be swept along. The laughter and joy enveloped her as they began to dance together, Kofi's laughter echoing against the backdrop of joyful music. Although she was stepping into the unknown, Amina realized that this twist of fate might just lead her to the unexpected adventure she had always craved. Beneath the star-studded sky, for a fleeting moment, Amina felt something she never expected on her wedding day: hope. Perhaps the life unfolding before her was not just a series of obligations but an opportunity to embrace the journey with an open heart. If love could be birthed from tradition, she was willing to explore every twist and turn along the way. A new home. The sun dipped low, painting the horizon in strokes of orange and pink, as Amina arrived at Kofi's home for the first time. Nestled at the edge of the village, the modest, single-story dwelling bore a distinct charm. A textured clay structure with vibrant blue shutters housed Kofi's laughter and stories. Perhaps today it would hold her uncertainties too. As she crossed the threshold, Amina was greeted by a warm, inviting scent. Spices mingled with fresh herbs, suggesting that Kofi's sister, Abina, had been busy preparing dinner. The living space was decorated simply but thoughtfully. Colorful woven mats decorated the earthen floor, and art adorned the walls. Each piece a testament to Kofi's creativity, a glimpse into his vibrant spirit. Kofi wheeled himself into the room, his face brightening at the sight of Amina. "Welcome to our home," he said, genuine warmth radiating from him. Although they were strangers united by circumstance, Amina felt the sincerity in his voice. "Thank you," she replied, unsure of how to fill the silence that trailed behind her words. "Dinner is just about ready," he continued, motioning her to sit beside him at the large wooden table. "Abina is a marvelous cook." Their conversation flowed like gentle water, easing the tension that had enveloped her since the wedding. As they talked, Amina slowly began to uncover Kofi's rich tapestry of stories, of adventure, dreams, and the life he once led before the accident. She learned that he had been an avid runner, his body an embodiment of strength and agility. Yet, rather than marinating in sorrow, Kofi found joy in weaving tales, sharing laughter, and making others feel seen. The room filled with the delicious aroma of plantains and stew as Abina entered, gracefully balancing a large tray laden with food. "You two have been holding out on me," she exclaimed, laughter dancing in her eyes. "What have you been discussing?" "Only your brilliant cooking," Kofi teased, eliciting a playful jab from Abina, who settled the meal before them. "This is a moment to cherish. Here, we share not just food, but our lives," Abina proclaimed, her voice echoing the warmth of their home. Despite the gravity of their situation, Amina felt something shift inside her. A glimmer of hope that perhaps Kofi's life could embrace her dreams as well. As they dined together, laughter echoed in the cozy space. Amina found herself loosening the chains of her reluctance, reveling in the simplicity of the moment. Every mouthful awakened her senses. The spices were vibrant, alive with tradition, and reminiscent of joyful dances back in her family home. Perhaps she had underestimated the beauty of shared meals, the conversations born between bites, and the laughter that could echo within these walls. Post-dinner, they retreated to the comfortable seating area where cushions were scattered among colorful textiles. Amina leaned back, allowing herself to sink into the warmth of the moment. Kofi, sensing her ease, began to share his dreams. Among them was a desire to inspire others through art. "I paint to express what words cannot," Kofi revealed, his eyes sparkling. You see, I may no longer run, but every stroke on the canvas allows me to explore vast landscapes. Each piece is a part of my journey. Amina felt drawn to his passion, her heart swelling with admiration. I'd love to see your work someday, she responded, her voice earnest. You will, Kofi assured, smiling. I've created a new piece that I'm excited about. It captures a dream I hold dear. Just as they were enveloped in the warmth of Kofi's dreams, a howl of laughter echoed from the window. Peering outside, Amina saw a group of children playing. Intrigued, she turned to Kofi. Do you ever join them? Kofi chuckled. I might not run with them, but I certainly inspire their imaginations. The stories I tell them often prompt adventures that soar far beyond the boundaries of the village. Amina's heart soared at the idea. In this moment, she realized Kofi's spirit was not defined by his physical limitations, but rather by his unwavering determination to weave joy into the very fabric of his life. Can I join you in sharing stories with them? She asked, feeling the urge to involve herself in this newfound adventure. Absolutely. Kofi's face broke into a beaming smile. Tomorrow, we start at dawn. You have a gift for storytelling, Amina, I can feel it. Though her heart still wrestled with uncertainties, a sense of belonging began to blossom in Amina's chest. As she settled into the comforts of her new home, she sensed the immense potential to craft her own narrative intertwined with Kofi's. The idea of sharing joy and laughter with the village children filled her with renewed life. As the stars began to twinkle outside and the soft whispers of night enveloped them, Amina leaned back, feeling lighter than she had all day. She looked at Kofi and Amina, their laughter wrapping around her like a cozy blanket. I think, Amina paused, her voice quivering with hope, that I may find an unexpected adventure here after all. Laughter erupted, and as their voices rose to meet the night, Amina understood that while her path had taken a turn into the unknown, it was a path full of promise, of friendship, and of love yet to be discovered. Little by little, she was beginning to see that home is not merely a place, it is who you choose to share it with, and perhaps, just perhaps, she had found her newfound adventure. Unlikely companions. Morning light filtered through the vibrant cloth drapes of Kofi's home, casting a warm glow on the humble yet inviting space. Amina felt a newfound energy coursing through her veins as she awoke to the sound of cheerful laughter drifting in from outside. The promise of a new day ignited her spirit. Today would mark her first adventure with Kofi and the village children. After a quick breakfast prepared by Amina, filled with support and encouragement, Amina donned a simple yet colorful dress, tying her hair back in a loose braid. She joined Kofi at the door, who was already ready, his ever-present smile illuminating his face. Are you ready? He asked, his voice brimming with enthusiasm. More than ever, Amina beamed, her heart thrumming with anticipation. Stepping outside, they were greeted by a chorus of giggles as children raced around the yard. Amina's gaze swept over them, their bright clothes and carefree laughter reminded her of her own childhood. They played an array of games that involved running and chasing, their imaginations painting the world in colors of joy. Kofi wheeled himself toward the gathering with Amina beside him. Children, gather around, he called, his voice commanding yet friendly. The little faces turned toward him in unison, their curious expressions full of wonder. Today, Amina and I have stories to share. But first, we want to know what stories you have to tell, Kofi continued, encouraging the children to gather and sit on the grass around them. What do you want to hear? A girl with bright eyes asked, her voice eager. Let's hear about your adventures. Amina prompted, feeling her own excitement grow as she watched the children animatedly discuss various tales. A little boy recounted a daring escapade involving a tree climb gone awry, while another girl described a day spent chasing butterflies. As the stories unfurled, Kofi exchanged knowing glances with Amina, their connection deepening with each tale shared. The children's animated storytelling fostered a spirit of camaraderie, and for the first time, Amina felt her heart begin to shift. With Kofi beside her, she began to weave her own tale, a story of a brave adventurer facing unknown challenges. Once upon a time, in a land far away, Amina started, pulling the children into her narrative. She narrated a tale of bravery, love, and unexpected friendship, captivated by the children's sparkling eyes. The story flowed like a river, born from Amina's thoughts, a reflection of her own struggle to find her place in the world. "Can we be heroes too?" a boy shouted, his enthusiasm infectious. "Absolutely," she replied, her heart swelling with joy. "Every little action you take can make you a hero in someone's story." As she spoke, Amina felt the weight of her past begin to lift. The children were not just giggling spectators, they were her companions, inviting her to experience life through their eyes. Their spirits soared, and moments of laughter broke any lingering apprehension tangled in her heart. After several tales and laughter-filled hours passed, Kofi suggested a game. "Let's see who can create the best story by combining all our adventures into one." Excitement erupted as the children eagerly agreed. They divided into small groups, brainstorming ideas. Amina and Kofi joined one group, and as they bounced ideas around, an unexpected companionship blossomed between them. "So, what's the theme of our story?" Amina asked, feeling comfortable enough to engage in a light-hearted squabble of creativity. "How about bravery in the face of adversity?" Kofi suggested. Amina nodded, respect growing for the man who stirred her desire to share. As they crafted their joint narrative, drawing from their experiences with laughter, dreams, and friendship, they became increasingly aware of each other's strengths and quirks. Kofi, with an infectious sense of humor, introduced unpredictable elements into the tale. "And then the butterfly hero can save the village from the cookie monster," he said, stifling laughter. "In the middle of a battle," Amina added, her fingers dancing excitedly in the air, mimicking a grand moment. The children roared with laughter at the absurdity of their idea, joining the fun wholeheartedly. As the sun began to wane, casting golden rays across the field, they wrapped up their story, which had transformed into a delightful fable born from collaboration. Amina felt a sense of satisfaction wash over her. Though she had entered the day as an apprehensive newcomer, she now stood shoulder to shoulder with Kofi, united in purpose and friendship. "We should present our story to everyone," Amina suggested as they made their way back toward the village, and Kofi nodded enthusiastically. As they approached the village square, the sun dipped low, bathing the world in a fire of colors. The children clamored excitedly, eager to share their new creation of teamwork and joy. Kofi looked at Amina with admiration. "You've brought new life into our village today," he said softly, gratitude saturating his words. Together, Amina corrected him gently, a smile glowing in her eyes. Amidst the chattering voices, Amina realized they had built something precious, a bond that transcended word or circumstance. They were not just a disabled man and an unwilling bride, they were unlikely companions, co-authors of laughter and life. As they prepared to present their escapade under a golden-tinted sky, Amina knew their journey together had only just begun. Each step they took ignited the spark within her, unraveling the threads of expectation and weaving in a tapestry of companionship, adventure, and camaraderie. And perhaps, in finding these connections, she had begun to discover her true self along the way. Tides of change. The sun rose over the village in a splendor of gold and crimson, casting a warm glow over Amina's heart as she prepared for the day ahead. The laughter and excitement from the previous day still lingered in her spirit, a promise of new beginnings that resonated within her. Kofi had invited her to join him at the riverbank today, a place where he found solace and inspiration. The river was the beating heart of the village, an ever-flowing source of life, laughter, and dreams. Little did Amina realize how deeply their excursion would intertwine with her own journey. After breakfast, Amina gathered her courage and made her way to Kofi's home. He was already waiting outside, his wheelchair positioned at the edge of the garden, the morning light illuminating his features. His eyes sparkled with anticipation. Amina returned his smile, feeling the warmth between them grow with every passing day. "Ready for an adventure?" Kofi asked, enthusiasm bubbling in his voice. "Always," Amina replied, her heart swelling with excitement. Their journey to the riverbank was filled with laughter and shared stories. As they crossed paths with villagers, Kofi greeted everyone warmly, jokes dancing from his lips, revealing layers of his lively personality. Amina couldn't help but feel a sense of belonging as she walked beside him, their camaraderie blossoming in the gentle morning air. When they reached the river, the sight took Amina's breath away. The water sparkled like diamonds, flowing gracefully over smooth stones as if weaving a tapestry of life. She let out a content sigh, taking in the beauty of the landscape and the solace in Kofi's presence. Kofi maneuvered his wheelchair to a flat area by the water's edge. "This place has been my sanctuary," he said, gazing at the rippling water. "It teaches me that change is constant and beautiful, like the rivers." Intrigued, Amina prompted him for more. "How so?" He offered a thoughtful smile. "You see how the water flows? It adapts to every curve, every rock in its path. We too must learn to adjust, to embrace the changes that come our way." As Kofi spoke, Amina felt a stirring within her. She had entered into this marriage filled with trepidation, yearning for her own dreams yet feeling bound by obligation. Could she allow herself to adapt, to embrace this new chapter with an open heart? They spent the day by the river, sharing stories and watching the villagers pass by, fishing, playing and laughing, as life continued to flow around them. Amidst the gentle murmurs of water caressing the shore, Kofi began sketching in his notebook, capturing the beauty of the river and the vibrant life surrounding it. "What do you see?" Amina inquired, watching him intently. "Everything," he responded, looking up with fervor. "I see moments that we often overlook, the way the light dances on the water, the laughter of children, even the stories etched in the bark of trees. Each detail tells a tale, much like our lives." Amina's heart swelled. Kofi had such a beautiful way of seeing the world. It was as if he could extract meaning from anything, even the simplest of things. Encouraged, she sat beside him, watching as he captured the scene with swift strokes of his pencil. Inspired, Amina spoke with honesty. "I have always dreamed of telling stories, of crafting worlds through words. But I fear I've lost my voice along the way." "Your voice isn't lost, it just awaits discovery," he encouraged, his eyes gleaming with warmth. "Like the river that carves its path through the landscape, your story will carve itself into the worlds." A shared silence enveloped them, the gentle rippling of the river punctuating their conversation. Amina contemplated Kofi's words, feeling daring enough to take a leap. "What if we created a story together? Your sketches and my words, merging our creativity." Kofi's face lit up with enthusiasm, his eyes brimming with encouragement. "What a wonderful idea! Our combined talents could yield something magnificent." Suddenly, the vibrant village and the shimmering river became the canvas of their dreams, a tapestry waiting to be woven with their experiences, laughter, and the understanding they had cultivated. Amina's imagination soared as they brainstormed ideas. They envisioned the setting of their collaborative piece, a magical world reflecting their adventures in the village, unveiling both beauty and struggle, joy and resilience. But uncertainty crept back into Amina's mind, like shadows chased by the fading light. "What if I'm not good enough?" she confessed, her voice barely a whisper. Kofi placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We are not seeking perfection, we're seeking truth. Beauty lies in the authenticity of our experiences and emotions." Those simple words resonated deeply within Amina, resonating like the pulse of the river itself. Perhaps the journey was not just about arriving, but about navigating the waters together, forging a bond of creation and exploration. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of purple and gold, Amina felt a sense of liberation rising within her. In Kofi's presence, she found not only a companion but an unwavering support, guiding her toward self-discovery. With the night approaching, they gathered their belongings and made their way back home, laughter and shared stories fluttering in the air around them. The thoughts of their collaborative project ignited a spark of creativity within Amina, and she felt the tides of change beginning to wash over her, ushering in broader horizons. Through their venture, Amina discovered that the river was not just a backdrop to their lives, it was a reflection of their journey together. As it continued to flow and adapt, so too would they. They were beginning to learn that their paths, though woven by circumstance, could emerge as beautiful tapestries enriched by shared experiences, companionship, and love. With every movement of the water, Amina grew more certain, in the embrace of Kofi's friendship, she would find her voice once more, and together they could write a story that would reflect the very essence of their lives, a vibrant dance of hope, love, and change. The weight of tradition. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows across the village as Amina sat on the porch of her new home. The laughter of children echoed in the distance, mingling with the sweet scent of flowers blooming in the garden, yet her heart felt heavy. The happiness that had accompanied her into marriage began to feel overshadowed by the expectations and traditions woven into the fabric of her life. She had spent days with Kofi and the village children, sharing laughter and stories, but the weight of obligation to her family pressed down on her shoulders, like a storm cloud limiting her ability to see the light. Mama Nia entered the scene, her presence commanding yet comforting. She seemed to sense Amina's unease, instinctively understanding the internal battle brewing within her daughter. "Amina, my dear," she said gently, sitting down beside her. "What troubles you?" With a sigh, Amina looked out at the vibrant life of the village that felt so at odds with her restless heart. "Mama, I appreciate all that you and Papa have done for me, but I worry that I'm losing myself in this arrangements." Mama Nia studied Amina's face. "Marriage is a commitment, my love. It's not just about you, it's about family and tradition. Our ancestors established such bonds to create stability, to ensure our legacy continues." "Yes, Mama," Amina responded, her voice tinged with frustration. "But at what cost? I want to honor our family, but I also want to build my own path. What if that path diverges from what is expected of me?" Tension mingled in the air as Mama Nia struggled to articulate her beliefs. "Tradition, Amina, is like the roots of a great tree. It provides nourishment and stability. You can grow strong, but you must recognize the foundation from which you came." Amina felt trapped in her mother's analogy. While she respected the traditions that shaped her upbringing, they seemed to encapsulate her dreams rather than allow them to flourish. It was as if she was standing at a crossroads, one path leading to adherence to traditions and the other leading to self-discovery. "Mama," Amina whispered, "what if the tree your roots feed becomes unyielding, unable to adapt to the winds of change?" Mama Nia's gaze softened. "It's a delicate balance, Amina. You carry our legacy, your choices must reflect both your heart and your ancestry. You are not merely a branch on a tree, you are a part of a vast ecosystem." As their conversation faded into silence, Amina's mind swam with conflicting thoughts. Tradition had its beauty, but it had also blindfolded her eyes to the possibilities that lay ahead. She recalled Kofi's words about the river flowing, adapting to every challenge. Perhaps she, too, could honor her family while still allowing the currents of her life to reshape her existence. Later that evening, Kofi arrived home with a gentle smile on his face, but Amina noticed a hint of concern lingering in his eyes. "What weighs heavy on your heart?" he asked, wheeling closer to her. "Can tradition allow for personal growth?" she pondered aloud. "I feel torn between honoring my family and embracing my own dreams. It's challenging to navigate this new life without losing myself." Kofi leaned back thoughtfully, contemplating her words like a painter pondering a blank canvas. "Tradition is a part of life, but it should never stifle who you are. Much like the river, you can find ways to be both respectful of the past and open to the future." Amina smiled faintly. "But Mama believes it's essential to follow the path set before meal." "Perhaps," Kofi suggested, his eyes reflecting the sunlight streaming through the window, "you need to find harmony between the two. Speak to your family about your dreams. Let them see the person you are becoming." "How can I do that without disrespecting their beliefs?" Amina pressed, worry lacing her voice. "Start with what you love," he said gently. "Share your experiences, your hopes, and let them understand that your path does not invalidate theirs but rather enriches the family tree." Kofi's words ignited a flicker of determination within Amina. Maybe she could find her voice among the roots of tradition, but she had to summon the courage to speak up. The following morning, a village gathering took place under the great baobab tree, where elders and villagers convened to discuss matters about the community. Amina felt her heart race as she approached the circle, clutching her hands tightly together. The weight of tradition loomed as she prepared to voice her feelings. As the meeting unfolded, her father spoke passionately about upholding traditions and values. His words swayed the villagers, reinforcing the importance of staying true to their heritage. Amina's apprehension surged at the thought of sharing her dreams in this environment. Finally, she found the strength to stand. The murmurs fell silent as all eyes turned toward her. "I want to speak," Amina called out, her voice quivering but resolute. The elders exchanged glances, and her father's brow furrowed, yet he nodded for her to continue. "I cherish our traditions and the values passed down through generations, but I also have dreams and aspirations that I wish to pursue," she declared, which caused murmurs of surprise to ripple across the group. "I want to share our family stories and contribute to the village in a way that reflects who I am. I believe that my journey does not diminish what you've built for us, rather, it can add new dimensions to our legacies." As her voice carried her words across the gathering, Amina felt a release wash over her. Speaking her truth made her feel lighter, granting her a sense of agency over her life. The villagers nodded thoughtfully, considering her perspective. Kofi's support shone in his eyes as he remained rooted among the crowd, offering silent encouragement. Amina dared to meet her parents' gaze, looking for understanding. Her father lingered in silence, the weight of tradition wrestling with the love he felt for his daughter. And then, unexpectedly, he smiled, his eyes softening. "We are proud of you, Amina. It takes courage to stand up for your dreams." From the audience, Amina clapped enthusiastically, her applause echoing forth. Slowly, others joined in, and Amina felt the warmth of acceptance flood her heart. Tradition held a weight, but it was not unbreakable. In that moment, she began to see that her voice, intertwined with her family's legacy, could create a new symphony, a harmonious blend of tradition and individuality that enriched the lives intertwined with her own. Amina had shifted the tide. She had taken a step toward embracing her identity without abandoning those she loved. As the sun set over the village, she felt the weight lift, replaced with the buoyancy of newfound freedom, connection, and the promise of a shared future, written in both ink and heart. Sisters bond. The sun rose over the village like a newly polished coin, casting bright rays that kissed the earth with warmth. Amina awoke with a sense of purpose, invigorated by her recent declaration at the village gathering. She had taken a bold step toward embracing her dreams, and today, she felt determined to continue that momentum. As she prepared breakfast for herself and Kofi, Amina's thoughts danced between the past and future. Since her marriage, she had come to appreciate the profound yet subtle differences in perspectives that arose when two lives intertwined. Amina wondered how much more she would discover about herself through her new family and how she could further enrich that bond. After breakfast, Amina decided it was time to strengthen her relationship with Abina, Kofi's sister, who had always supported him, and in turn, Amina. With a newfound resolve, she approached Abina's house down the winding path. The morning air hummed with possibilities, much like the vibrant colors of life all around her. As Amina arrived, she found Abina organizing herbs and vegetables in the garden, her hands expertly sorting the plants. "Good morning, Amina," Abina greeted, brushing dirt from her hands and flashing a bright smile. "I'm glad to see you." "Good morning. I was hoping we could spend some time together today," Amina suggested, her heart fluttering with anticipation. Abina's face lit up with eagerness. "Of course. I've been meaning to show you how to gather herbs properly for preparing meals. You know, Kofi likes his dishes seasoned just right." Laughter bubbled between them as they walked through the garden, the scent of fresh herbs dancing in the air. Amina felt a connection blooming between them, an exciting thread of companionship ready to strengthen their bond. As they gathered herbs, Amina hesitantly asked, "What is it like being Kofi's sister? I mean, how do you both handle the changes that come with his disability?" Abina looked thoughtful for a moment, placing a bundle of fragrant basil into Amina's hands. "It is a journey, to say the least. It took time for us to adjust, and we both had to learn to see strength in different forms. Kofi may not walk like he once did, but he inspires me every day." Inspired by Abina's words, Amina opened up about her own struggles. "I feel torn between honoring tradition and seeking my own dreams. Sometimes I worry that my newfound voice might disrupt the families." Abina paused, considering Amina's vulnerability. "It's natural to feel that way. But sharing your dreams isn't a disruption, it's a gift. By nurturing your aspirations, you lift us all. Kofi and I often discuss the importance of following our hearts while respecting our roots." Amina's heart warmed at Abina's insight, feeling emboldened by the support. "You've always been a guiding light for Kofi. I want to contribute to the family too, in ways that honor you boths." As they finished gathering herbs, Abina suggested, "Let's create a special dish tonight with the herbs you've gathered. We can invite Kofi and make it a celebration of you, a taste of your journey thus far." Excitement surged within Amina. "What a wonderful idea. I would love to cook for you boths." As the day unfolded, the two sisters shared stories, interweaving laughter, experiences, and dreams over piles of freshly picked vegetables. Amina discovered an unexpected joy in cooking alongside Abina. She felt the weight of her worries ebb away, replaced by a sense of kinship that was beginning to blossom into something profound. That evening, as twilight descended and stars began to twinkle overhead, Abina and Amina prepared a feast, kitchen filled with the delicious aromas wafting up to greet Kofi upon his arrival. Kofi wheeled himself into the kitchen, the look of discovery on his face telling them he could smell the enticing food before seeing it. "What is this marvelous aroma?" he inquired, delight dancing in his eyes. "Just some magic from the kitchen made by your two favorite chefs," Abina announced with a grin. "Can't wait to taste it," Kofi said, chuckling, as he settled at the dining table, anticipation glowing in his eyes. As they served the meal, Amina felt her heart swell with pride. She had infused each dish with care, tossing in rich herbs and spices that mirrored her journey. They placed the food before Kofi, and with a twinkle in his eye, he took the first bite. "This is incredible," Kofi exclaimed, savoring the flavors as he chewed thoughtfully. "You've outdone yourselves. Each bite tells a story, just like the ones we weave together." Amina's heart soared at Kofi's words, their meaning resonating deeply within her. As laughter filled the air and discussions flowed freely at the table, Amina realized the importance of sharing her dreams with those she loved. Abina and Kofi had transformed into allies on her journey, each embracing her voice and encouraging her growth. After dinner, Kofi suggested they all share a story. Abina smiled, her eyes twinkling with mischief. "How about we start with your adventure of gathering herbs? I believe Amina can tell it best." Amina took a deep breath, filled with gratitude for their encouragement. She recounting not only the herb gathering but her feelings of empowerment, her aspirations, and her desire to contribute to their family in a real and meaningful way. As her words flowed, she sensed Abina and Kofi leaning in, completely enthralled by her tale. They listened attentively, the warmth of support enveloping Amina, transforming her vulnerability into strength. When she finished, Kofi leaned back in delight. "Your courage to share speaks volumes, Amina. You are creating a legacy alongside us, one rooted in love, laughter, and collaboration." Tears threatened to spill from Amina's eyes as she absorbed the essence of that moment. They were more than just a husband and wife or siblings. They were a family intertwined through stories, dreams, and mutual support. The bond between Amina and Abina deepened that day, a connection founded on shared experience, understanding, and dreams yet to be pursued. Amina realized that supporting each other's journeys would only strengthen the roots of their familial tree and help weave an intricate tapestry of love, unity, and respect. As the stars winked overhead and laughter danced through their cozy home, Amina knew they would continue to journey together, carving a path enriched by their bond, growing ever closer as sister, brother, and family. Together, they would illuminate the way for one another in the unveiling of their intertwined stories, their dreams woven into the fabric of their lives as they ventured forward into the future. Seeds of hope. The morning sun bathed the village in a warm embrace, casting a golden hue over the landscape and banishing the lingering shadows of night. Amina awoke with renewed purpose, the memories of last night's family meal filling her heart with joy. With every moment spent in the company of Kofi and Abina, she felt a growing seed of hope take root within her, a belief that her dreams could flourish alongside her family's rich traditions. With excitement buzzing in her veins, Amina decided to venture to the village marketplace that day. It was vibrant and colorful, alive with the melodious sounds of haggling and laughter. As she made her way through the labyrinth of stalls, the scent of spices and fresh produce greeted her, igniting her senses and filling her with inspiration. Wandering through the market, Amina's eyes lit upon a stall overflowing with flowering plants and young saplings. The seller, an elderly woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile, stood patiently, arranging her wares. Amina felt drawn to the plants, as if they whispered to her, beckoning her to explore their potential. "Good morning, my dear," the woman greeted Amina, her voice warm like the sun filtering through the leaves. "Are you looking for something specific?" "Yes," Amina replied, her heart racing with possibility. "I want to plant something that will grow and thrive. Something that symbolizes hope and new beginnings." The woman's eyes sparkled with understanding. "Then you must consider these seeds," she said, pointing to a small pile of packets. "They are known as seeds of hope. These beautiful flowers bloom into vibrant colors and attract butterflies. They remind us that beauty can flourish even in challenging times." Amina carefully picked up a packet and examined it, picturing the flowers blooming like vibrant dreams in her garden. "I'll take a few," she said, handing the woman some coins, her mind swirling with ideas. With seeds in hand, Amina made her way back home, excitement bubbling within her. She could envision creating a garden that would not only beautify their home but also symbolize the hope and dreams she nurtured in her heart. When she arrived, Kofi was waiting for her, his radiant smile lighting up the space. "There you are. I was just about to head out in search of you." Amina burst with excitement, her eyes bright. "Look what I found. Seeds of hope. I want to plant them in our gardens." Kofi's eyes twinkled with admiration as he glanced at the small packets. "What a beautiful idea. Shall we start planting them together?" Together, they made their way to the garden, which had flourished under Abina's care but still held space for new dreams to take root. Kneeling side by side, Amina and Kofi worked in harmony, digging small holes in the earth, each scoop of soil symbolizing their stories and aspirations. "What do you envision for this garden?" Kofi asked, glancing at her. "I want it to be a place of retreat, a sanctuary where we can nurture our dreams and gather inspiration," Amina replied, her heart racing with possibility. "A space for laughter, stories, and hope, a reflection of our lives." As they planted the seeds, Amina shared her dreams of speaking to the village about the importance of personal growth alongside tradition. Kofi listened intently, his admiration for her burgeoning confidence evident. "Imagine if we could inspire others to plant their own seeds, to find a balance between their desires and our rich heritage," Amina mused. "Maybe I could organize a community gathering, where people could share their stories while planting seeds of their own." Kofi's eyes sparkled. "That sounds wonderful. A celebration of dreams intertwined with our roots. I believe it would resonate with many." With every seed they planted, Amina felt her fears dissipate, replaced by an irresistible surge of hope. Each flower would represent not only her aspirations but those of her family and community, a vivid reminder that growth could thrive amidst tradition. Weeks passed as they tended to the garden, and with each passing day, the seeds sprouted delicate green shoots, reaching for the sun. The garden became a vibrant canvas of life, embodying their hopes and dreams. Amina witnessed the beauty in the intertwined lives of her family and her newfound path. One afternoon, as Abina joined them in the garden, the three siblings gathered around, observing the flowers blooming brightly. A sense of unity washed over them, and Amina couldn't help but feel her heart swell with gratitude. "I've been thinking," Amina began, taking a deep breath. "I want to share our garden with the community, to invite everyone over and create a celebration of growth and dreams. We could hold discussions about how to nurture our own aspirations while honoring our roots together." Kofi and Abina exchanged glances, and a smile spread across Kofi's face. "What a brilliant idea! We can make it a festival, a day of planting seeds, sharing stories, and inspiring one another," he responded. Abina nodded eagerly. "I'll help organize everything. The villagers will love this." As they brainstormed and planned, Amina was enveloped in a wave of excitement. The seeds she had planted symbolized not only the flowers blooming in their garden but also the aspirations and dreams flourishing in their hearts. This gathering would be a milestone, a testament to their unity and path toward a shared future. As the sun dipped low in the sky, Amina gazed at the vibrant colors of the blooming garden. It was a reflection of her journey, a tapestry woven with love, hope, and dreams yet to be realized. She had taken the first steps toward her destiny, fighting for her voice alongside those she held dear. In nurturing the seeds of hope, Amina had begun to understand that life's beauty lies in the journey of growth, where each budding flower held the promise of change and the legacy created through togetherness. The road ahead might still hold challenges, but she felt assured that together, they could cultivate an abundant harvest of dreams and love, forever rooted in their family's legacy. The beauty of connection. As the festival day approached, Amina's excitement mingled with a touch of anxiety. The garden she and Kofi had nurtured blossomed with vibrant colors, a testament to the seeds of hope they had planted together. The news of the upcoming gathering spread through the village like wildfire, excitement dancing in the air. Villagers began sharing stories of their own dreams, and the buzz of anticipation thrummed in Amina's heart. On the morning of the festival, Amina awoke early, her heart racing with the familiar rhythm of determination. She slipped into a flowing dress adorned with floral patterns that mirrored the blooms in her garden, a small symbol of the connection she hoped to foster on this special day. As she arrived at the garden, she found Kofi and Amina setting up the space beautifully, hanging colorful garlands of flowers and arranging cushions for guests to sit on. Laughter filled the air, matching the bright sun that bathed everything in warmth. "Look at this," Kofi proclaimed, gesturing to the vibrant garden. "It's a haven of dreams." Amina smiled, her heart swelling with pride as she surveyed their handiwork. Each decoration was a reflection of the love, hope, and unity that characterized their relationship. She felt as if their garden had transformed into a canvas upon which the community could paint their collective dreams. As villagers began to gather, Amina felt a flutter of nerves. She had invited them to share their stories, but would they be willing to open up? Just then, a familiar face emerged from the crowd. Mama Nia, with her father by her side, both beaming with pride. The sight of her parents embraced Amina with a sense of reassurance. "We're so proud of you, Amina," her father said, his voice resonating with warmth. "This garden is a beautiful testament to our family's roots and your dreams." Tears prickled at the corners of Amina's eyes as she embraced them, feeling the strength of her family behind her. "Thank you for believing in me," Amina replied, her voice shaky with emotion. As the sun continued its climb into the sky, villagers arrived, filling the garden with friends, laughter, and stories. Kofi greeted everyone with open arms and infectious laughter, drawing them into the vibrant atmosphere of the festival. Amina roamed among the guests, offering refreshments from lush trays laden with fruit and sweet pastries. Once everyone had settled, Amina stepped forward, feeling the butterflies in her stomach dance. "Welcome everyone to our celebration of dreams, unity, and the beauty of connection." With that, she embarked on a heartfelt introduction, sharing the journey that led to this gathering, the struggles and joys of planting seeds in the garden and their symbolic representation of the intertwining of their lives. As she spoke, she felt a sense of empowerment wash over her, and the warmth in the crowd encouraged her to continue. After her introduction, Amina invited villagers to share their dreams, emphasizing that every story, no matter how big or small, was worthy of being heard. For her, this was a way to cultivate the connections that would bind them all, allowing everyone to see how their dreams intertwined with tradition. One by one, friends and villagers bravely stepped up to share their stories. An elder spoke of her dream to travel to distant lands, weaving tales of her adventurous youth. A young boy shared his aspirations of becoming a skilled musician, his eyes sparkling with hope. As the openness grew, Amina's heart soared. She watched as the garden transformed into a sanctuary of vulnerability and connection. Each story resonated like harmonies intertwined, and Amina felt the bonds strengthening between them all. Then, a certain shyness wrapped around a familiar figure. Nana, a neighbor who had spent many days in the garden with Kofi. Her voice trembled as she approached. "I want to share a story too." The hush that fell over the crowd was palpable as everyone turned to listen. Nana's tale unfolded slowly, revealing her dreams of building a school for children in the village. Her voice swelled with passion, each word dancing off her lips as she painted a vision of a space where children could learn, grow, and nurture their own dreams. When she finished, the garden erupted into applause. Amidst the claps, Amina felt a tear escape her, tears of joy and inspiration. Nana's vulnerability and courage resonated deeply within her, reminding Amina of how beautifully intertwined their lives were. Kofi's face lit up, and he guided Nana back to the crowd. "Your dream is powerful, and we will support you," he said, his voice unwavering. His words echoed through the garden, fostering a sense of unity among everyone. "Let's plant those seeds," Amina suggested with a beaming smile, feeling joy surge through the gathering. "Seeds of knowledge, hope, and connection. What do you say?" The villagers cheered in affirmation, and together, they moved to the garden, where small pots filled with soil awaited them. Each villager took turns planting seeds in honor of their dreams, infusing the earth with aspirations that would grow through their resonance with one another. As the sun sank low, casting a warm golden light across the garden, Amina stood amidst the vibrant flowers and the laughter of her community. She sensed the beauty of connection, like threads woven between the lives they touched, encircling them in love and understanding. In that sacred space, Amina gave thanks for the whispers of tradition, the embrace of family, the courage of her friends, and the blossoming connections they had nurtured together. The seeds they planted that day were not simply those of flowers. They were seeds of hope, friendship, and inspiration that would continue to grow long after the festival had ended. As the festivities continued, Amina began to realize that within each connection lay the promise of new beginnings, drawing them all toward a future that glimmered with possibility and shared dreams. A garden that flourished in both their hearts and the earth where they planted their hopes. The beauty of connection was not just in their tales, but in the strength they found together, forever transformed by the seeds they had sown. Stormy waters. The whispers of dusk hung thick in the air as Amina awoke, a storm brewing on the horizon. Raindrops tapped at the window, gentle at first but quickening in intensity, a reflection of the apprehension brewing within her. She lay in bed recalling the joyous festivities from the previous day, how the villagers had united to plant seeds in their gardens, sharing stories and laughter that resonated like a melodic harmony. Yet today felt different. An electric charge gripped her, a foreboding that left her restless. After breakfast, Amina decided she needed to express her thoughts. The weight of uncertainty gnawed at her. She found Kofi in the garden, where his laughter usually rang like a bell, but today he was quiet, staring pensively at the growing flowers under the gloomy sky. Kofi glanced up as she approached, his smile fading slightly. "Good morning, Amina." "Good morning, Kofi. Are you all right?" "Just thinking," he said softly. "It's strange how a joyful moment can segue into uncertainty. The seeds we planted yesterday feel heavy with expectations." The tension in the air thickened, making Amina's heart race. "I feel it too. Last night's elation was intoxicating, but now I wonder if I truly have the strength to carry forward the dreams shared among us." Kofi frowned, his brows knitting together in contemplation. "What do you mean?" "It's just," Amina hesitated, choosing her words delicately. "I fear that pursuing my dreams could pull me away from the family's expectations. Will I be betraying our traditions?" Kofi met her gaze, his usual warmth giving way to concern. "Amina, you've seen how our village flourished during yesterday's celebration. We all need your voice, your dreams. But growth comes with storms. It can be unsettling." Just then, the wind picked up, rattling the leaves overhead. Amina shivered, gazing toward the storm clouds gathering in the distance. "It feels like the storm outside is mirroring my thoughts." As if in response, the rain began to pour, heavy droplets saturating the earth and washing over their garden. Amina felt a pang of panic. What will happen to the flowers we planted? Kofi wheeled closer to her. Nature will take its course. The rain is essential for growth, just as vulnerability is essential for personal growth. We must trust that the storm will nourish us, even if it feels overwhelming. As they stood together in the pouring rain, Amina realized that Kofi's wisdom rang true. The tempest mirrored the tumult of her emotions, the uncertainty, fear, and the weight of expectations. She longed for clarity but felt as if the storm only thickened the fog of confusion. Days passed, and the rain persisted. Amina struggled to find balance in her life, reassessing her dreams in the shadow of her family's desires. Kofi, ever supportive, was her empathetic voice, encouraging her to embrace her path, yet doubt continued to bubble beneath the surface. One afternoon, while reading near the window, the storm's ferocity intensified. Lightning illuminated the sky, sending flickers of panic through Amina. The howling winds seemed to amplify her fears, echoing her heart's turmoil. She set the book down, her heartbeat quickening as she glanced outside. Kofi entered the room, concern etched on his features. "Amina, you've been distant lately. Talk to me. What's on your mind?" "I don't know if I can do this, Kofi," she admitted, the tears she had been holding back spilling over. "What if I fail? What if pursuing my dreams means losing my family's support?" He leaned closer, his voice steady. "You're not going to fail if you embrace who you are. Your family may not understand everything at first, but they love you. Trust that love. It is the most resilient force." Choking back sobs, Amina looked into Kofi's eyes and saw the unwavering support that had always been there. "But what if I lose my way in the storm?" Kofi took her hands, grounding her. "Your path will have storms, but remember, they can also clear the skies. Embrace the journey, Aminat." But even as Kofi offered words of encouragement, Amina felt the storm of doubt raging inside her. The tumult of emotions came to a head as thunder boomed, rattling the window and causing her heart to pound. "Come outside with me," Kofi suggested, inspiring her to rise from the depths of her despair. "What? In this storm?" she questioned, eyes wide. "Yes. We'll weather it together. Sometimes we need to confront our fears directly to truly understand our limitations." Nervously, Amina stepped outside, the rain drenching them instantly. She felt frail beneath nature's wrath but found solace in Kofi's presence as he grinned at the storm's fury. "Look at it," he gestured, his enthusiasm infectious. "It's powerful, yet it brings life. Let's dance." Amina couldn't help but laugh, allowing the deluge to soak her hair and clothes. They began to move, splashing through puddles and twirling amid the ferocity of the downpour. Rain danced around them like a symphony of overcoming fear, washing away the shadows that lingered in Amina's heart. In the midst of the storm, she began to feel liberated. The clouds swirling overhead mirrored the chaos within her mind, but it also signified release. As they danced, she recognized the beauty of vulnerability. The storm was necessary, cleansing and renewing her spirit in ways she hadn't anticipated. "Even in the storm, there is beauty," Amina laughed, her heart lightening. "You were right, Kofi." With each breath, she felt a sense of freedom unfurling within. A renewed understanding that growth often required enduring storms, both outside and within. As they returned inside, breathless and joyful, Amina realized that embracing uncertainty allowed her to confront her fears. Trusting in herself and the love surrounding her would carry her beyond the grasp of doubt. The rain began to subside, softening into a soothing patter. As the storms cleared, Amina looked out the window, catching a glimpse of the sun piercing through the clouds, illuminating the vibrant flowers of their garden. Hope surged through her veins like sunlight following rain. The storm had served its purpose. She may have felt lost amidst turbulent waters, but Kofi's unwavering belief in her ignited the courage she needed to chart her path, no matter the uncertainties ahead. Amina understood she could navigate the storms of life while remaining anchored to her dreams. As day turned to night, Amina felt a deep sense of peace enveloping her. The storms would come and go, but she would face them armed with courage, for she knew that every challenge brought the potential for growth and connection. Together, under each stormy sky, she and Kofi could create their destiny, one even brighter than before. Embracing love. The sun shone brightly over the village, illuminating the aftermath of the recent storm. Amina stood at the edge of their garden, her heart swelling as she surveyed the vibrant flowers, blooms bursting forth and dazzling in the morning light, still glistening with raindrops. In their splendid array, they seemed to echo her own journey toward growth and discovery. She could feel the momentum pushing her forward, a reminder that beauty often blossomed in the wake of challenges. Kofi joined her outside, his presence a comforting weight beside her. "The garden looks incredible," he said, admiring the flowers with genuine appreciation. "It reflects your unwavering spirit." Amina smiled, warmth radiating from within her. "I can't help but think how much our journeys are intertwined. Just as these flowers have survived the storm, I've come to accept that my dreams and love for my family can coexist." Kofi turned to face her, a glimmer of admiration in his eyes. "You've shown tremendous resilience, Amina. Embracing love in all its forms is a powerful step forwards. As their eyes locked, Amina felt a familiar flutter in her chest. What once felt tentative between them had transformed into an unspoken connection, an intimacy that shared their insecurities while celebrating their strengths. The bond they formed amid trials, fueled by laughter in the garden and shrouded by the tempest, had blossomed into something undeniable. Driven by a sudden burst of courage, Amina took Kofi's hand. "I've been thinking much about us lately," she began, her heart racing. "About how much our connection has grown and how it continues to shape me." Kofi's gaze softened, the warmth of understanding evident. "I feel the same way," he responded gently. "You've opened my heart to possibilities I didn't know I needed. It's like the world has shifted." Amina felt a wave of emotion wash over her, a mixture of excitement and nerves. "I didn't expect to find this depth of connection, when I entered into our marriage. I thought it would merely fulfill my family's expectations. But now you see how much more it can be," Kofi finished, his eyes glistening with sincerity. "And that itself is a beautiful revelation." They stood together, hands entwined, each moment passing like a sweet melody. Amina realized that accepting love was as much about vulnerability as it was about strength. It called for a willingness to explore the unknown, to embrace both joy and uncertainty in equal measure. "I want to share more of our lives together," Amina said cautiously. "I want to nurture this connection as time moves forward, to create memories filled with laughter and loves." Kofi smiled, a warmth blossoming in his expression. "So do I. Love is not defined, it's actively built over time. Together we can explore our dreams, face challenges, and cultivate something lasting." As they spent the day together, planting new vegetables in the garden, experimenting with recipes rooted in their family's cultures, and basking under the sun, they felt an invincible bond grow stronger. Every shared smile fueled the love that blossomed between them, with brief moments of laughter snapping like fresh buds opening in the warmth. That evening, after they settled into a comfortable rhythm, Amina returned home after spending time with friends. "What a lovely dinner," she exclaimed, clasping her hands together. "It feels like the warmth inside your home rivals the beauty of your garden." "Thank you, Amina smiled. "We're trying new recipes. It's been a wonderful day." Kofi chuckled, his eyes dancing with mischief. "Amina has taken on the challenge of becoming our family's expert in cooking now. Maybe you should prepare for a taste test," Amina teased, her eyes sparkling. "Whoever cooks the best dish wins." Amina laughed, feeling the comfort of family envelop her. The evening unfolded in a cascade of laughter. The three shared stories, challenging each other to try new recipes that blended their family traditions. It was in those moments of joy and camaraderie that Amina realized this newfound love encompassed not just her bond with Kofi but also with Amina. Together, they were nurturing a family anchored in love, support, and understanding. As the stars emerged, scattered like diamonds across the darkening sky, Amina turned to Kofi, her heart full. "I must confess, I've never felt so connected in my life. It's as if our hearts are in rhythm, playing a song only we can hear." Kofi's smile broadened, revealing the depth of his affection for her. "The beauty of love is that it can ebb and flow, sometimes surprising us in ways we never imagined. Your willingness to embrace it is what makes it truly special." The warmth of his words wrapped around Amina like a familiar embrace. She understood that love was so much more than what she initially thought. Through laughter and sorrow, strength and vulnerability, she had embarked on a journey of self-discovery, intertwined with Kofi's story, where they could both flourish. "Let's never let go of what we've built," Amina whispered, her brow kissing his. In that moment of shared vulnerability, they knew they were embarking on an incredible journey that blended their lives and dreams, equipping them to weather any storm together. As night deepened, the stars twinkled above, symbols of the hopes and dreams that filled their hearts. Amina felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the love she was learning to embrace, the connection forged in the fertile ground of mutual respect, shared experiences, and tender moments. Together, they would cultivate not just a garden that thrived but a life that resonated with hope and connection, flourishing in love and understanding. She understood now that love had an extraordinary ability to bloom in the unlikeliest of places, often transformed by the vivacity of its caretakers. Amina was ready to embrace all that lay ahead, the beauty of their life together awaiting her like the inevitable blossoms of spring. A new beginning. The sun rose over the village, casting a warm glow that painted the world anew. Amina stood at the window of her home, gazing out at the garden, which had flourished beautifully after the community festival that had deepened their connections. Each flower swayed gently in the morning breeze, as though they were whispering secrets of hope and possibility. Today was different. It was a day imbued with promise, radiating the essence of new beginnings. After the stormy waters they had navigated, Amina sensed the impending changes within her heart, and excitement surged through her veins. She had embraced her dreams, stepped into her voice, and cultivated the bonds that connected her to Kofi, Abina, and the village, now more resilient than ever. Kofi entered the room, the sound of the door creaking breaking her reverie. "Good morning, Amina," he said with a warm smile. "Are you ready for today?" "Ready, and full of anticipation," Amina replied, her heart racing at the thought of what lay ahead. "I can't wait to share our plans with the village." They had invited the community to gather for another special event. This one centered around creating a collective vision for the future. Amina envisioned it as a platform for everyone, where dreams could be expressed, supported, and cultivated. She had spoken to the villagers about the importance of honoring both their past and their aspirations for the future. This gathering would be an opportunity for them to collectively sow the seeds of their dreams and solidify their bond as a community. Soon, they made their way through the village, the anticipation mounting with each step. Colorful banners adorned the path, a vivid representation of hope that welcomed the villagers. The buzz of cheerful chatter and laughter grew louder as they arrived at the central square, where tables were set up and beautiful arrangements of flowers lined the space. As the villagers gathered, Abina addressed everyone with enthusiasm. "Welcome, friends and family. Amina has organized this gathering to remind us of our dreams as individuals and as a community. Today, we will weave those dreams together, acknowledging our shared journey." Amina stepped forward, her heart pounding with excitement and nerves. She held her breath, drawing courage from the supportive faces before her. This was her moment. "Thank you for coming," she began, her voice steadying as she spoke. "This journey has taught me so much about the beauty of connection and the strength we find in each other. Together, we can create something remarkable." With each word, she painted a vision of collaboration and shared aspirations, inviting villagers to share their deepest desires and collectively shape their future. The atmosphere rippled with enthusiasm as people began to share their dreams, each story resonating like a note in a beautiful symphony. A grandmother spoke of building a community garden to share fresh produce. A group of children chimed in, describing their dream for a playground, a place where friendships could blossom freely. An artist shared hopes for a community art center that would showcase their culture and creativity. Amina felt buoyed by the hope that flowed through the crowd. Her heart swelled as she realized their dreams were interwoven, each desire reinforcing the others like strands in a tightly woven tapestry. As the sun reached its zenith, Amina called attention to a large wooden board adorned with sheets of paper and colorful markers. "Let's write down our dreams, our wishes, and our commitments to one another," she proposed. "These papers will become our vision board, a symbol of the future we will create together." Villagers eagerly stepped up to the board, scribbling down their aspirations with fervor. Each edition brought the vision board to life, vibrant with ideas and hopes, pulsating with the collective heartbeat of the community. Kofi joined her at the board, sharing his commitment to support the dreams of others, while Abina added her pledge to teach others about the beauty of their culture, blending tradition and innovation. As more and more names were written, Amina felt a surge of joy and purpose. This was more than just a gathering, it was a celebration of the diverse dreams that would fuel their journey ahead. As the evening began to settle in, Amina and the villagers stepped back to admire the vision board, a kaleidoscope of colors and aspirations representing the heart of their community. With each dream represented, Amina felt a deep sense of pride. They were not just a collection of individuals, they were a family bound by love and understanding. The warmth of the sunset enveloped them, and the sky transformed into a breathtaking canvas of oranges and purples as the day faded into twilight. Amina turned toward Kofi, her heart brimming with gratitude. We did it. Together. Kofi nodded, his eyes reflecting the vibrant hues of the sunset. This is just the beginning, Amina. We have fostered something beautiful today, and together, we will continue to cultivate it. As they stood side by side, Amina reflected on her journey from uncertainty to acceptance, from feeling lost to being grounded in a community that nurtured her spirit. The love and support from Kofi, Abina, and the villagers had empowered her to embrace her identity and follow her dreams without fear. In that moment, Amina understood that new beginnings are not merely about achieving dreams. They are about the connections formed and the resilience built along the way. She had learned to weave her aspirations into the fabric of her family, and together they would continue to sow seeds of hope under the guidance of love. As darkness fell gently over the village, Amina looked toward the horizon, a new adventure awaiting her. She knew that no matter the storms that might come tomorrow, she would always be anchored by the love surrounding her. Today was a new beginning, a celebration of everything they had overcome together, and a promise of all that lay ahead. The journey was just beginning, and she was ready to embrace it with all her heart.